Muted.
We are going to start our program. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Society Insurance Risk Control webinar on incident investigation. This is our second adventure into providing an alternative form of customer risk management education. This webinar on workers' compensation and liability incident investigation will run for approximately 30 to 40 minutes. While we have been practicing diligently over the last few weeks, since this is our second attempt, we apologize in advance if there's any technical glitches. I have people back here I can blame for it. We're also recording this webinar, and shortly after today's presentation, it will be formatted and posted on the Society Risk Control website for reviewing. And we will open up the webinar to questions at the end of the presentation. First, just a little bit about us. Society Insurance was founded in 1915 as a workers' compensation insurance company. We have built over 100 years of experience into specialized comprehensive coverage. Today, we are a regional mutual insurance carrier focusing on select business niches such as restaurants, bars, supermarkets, convenience stores, hotel motels, and artisan contractors. Along with workers' compensation insurance, Society provides property, auto, and liability coverage, focusing on the small details that make a big difference. Your presenters today represent Society's claims and risk control departments. They are Stacy Grafton, Claims Manager, Property, Auto, and Liability, Kathy Mentink, Workers' Compensation Technical Specialist, and myself, Tim Hoffman, Risk Control Technical Specialist. Between the three of us, we have 77 combined years of experience in the insurance industry. So let's get started. In this webinar, you will learn what is an incident, how and when to properly report an incident, why you should investigate, how to investigate, who should investigate, and the need for effective corrective action. What is an incident? This training session is purposely titled Incident Investigation rather than Accident Investigation. And you might ask why. The word accident often carries with it the connotation that the injury or loss could not have been prevented, or that nothing can be done to prevent it from reoccurring. Sometimes this is true, as in the case of storm damage, but it may not be true when it is an employee injury. We do not want to automatically accept that accidents do not have a cause simply because they were unplanned or undesired. We want to examine or investigate each incident to determine if there is a preventable cause that can be acted upon. In some areas of risk management, an workplace incident is sometimes termed a management failure. In other words, something in the process happened to cause an injury, and it's not anyone's fault. A near miss is another type of incident that should not be ignored. A near miss is an event that could have resulted in injury, illness, or property damage if the circumstances had been different. Also called a close call or a near hit. These should also be investigated for cause and corrective action. During today's program, we have two poll questions that we will be asking everybody, and you will have the opportunity to respond on your computer screen. Our first poll question should be showing up on your screen at this time, and I'll read it for you. It's a pretty simple yes/no question. Accidents can't be prevented. They are a cost of doing business. Yes or no? And we'll give you a few seconds to respond. Well, everybody did pretty good. The answer we got was 92% voted that it's false. And that's true. It's not false. Accidents are not a cost of doing business. No one wants an employee or a customer to be injured. But when this does happen, it shouldn't be ignored or accepted as a cost of doing business, as our poll question asked. If the injury was caused by a defective or malfunctioning product, preserving the evidence increases the chance that subrogation against the product manufacturer will be successful. With a workers' compensation accident, it is estimated the actual cost to a business ranges from 2 to 4 times the insured cost. In other words, a $5,000 claim could actually cost the business close to $10,000 in lost productivity, business interruption, and property damage. These uninsured costs are another reason why accidents should not be accepted, but should be
muted.
Costs themselves will increase if at-fault accidents continue to occur unabated, with insurance costs impacting a business's bottom line. When an accident occurs, it is also an opportunity to learn what happened, why it happened, and what, if anything, can be done to prevent a reoccurrence. So what is incident investigation? Incident investigation is a process of determining the root causes of accidents, on-the-job injuries, property damage, and close calls in order to prevent them from occurring again. Incident investigation will lead you to the real causes of why something happened. Armed with that knowledge, you can take affirmative steps to prevent future incidents from occurring. The process focuses on fact-finding, not fault-finding, determining the root causes of why the event occurred. At its core, it is not an attempt to fix blame.
While applicable to both employee and liability incidents, the approach you take is different. If the incident involves a non-employee, you should look for guidance and work with your claims representative on the action to be taken. We will expand on this further as we discuss how to investigate.
When should you investigate? A prompt investigation demonstrates management concern, but it is also necessary to preserve evidence and obtain the facts before memories fade. As an example, OSHA strongly encourages employers to investigate all incidents in which a worker was hurt, as well as close calls or near misses in which a worker might have been hurt if the circumstances had been slightly different. When should you investigate? Regardless if the incident involved an employee or a customer, the investigation process should begin after arranging for first aid or medical treatment for the injured persons. In getting started, remind everyone involved, especially workers, that the purpose of the investigation is to learn and prevent, not find fault. During an incident investigation, focus on getting the facts. Think about these 7 points. First, visit the scene of the incident before physical evidence is disturbed. Next, make a visual record. This could include a sketch, but photographs are even better. Today, most everyone has a smartphone with the capability of taking pictures. That should be your first choice. Notes detailing the condition of the area are also a good idea. Determine what incident-related items should be preserved. In other words, evidence, a broken piece of equipment, things that you don't want to disappear. Identify the people who can help determine incident causes. These would be your witnesses or bystanders. Interview the witnesses as soon as possible while details are still fresh in their minds. Document and review sources of information as well as policies and procedures. Review the incident. Say to others, explain to me what happened. Questions should always be open-ended. All investigations should be documented, preferably written on an investigation form. Incident investigation forms are available on the Society website at www.societyinsurance.com under the claims section, and then click on either property casualty claims or workers' compensation claims. But who should investigate? For an employee injury, the investigation should be done by the immediate supervisor or manager. Often, that supervisor or manager trained the person who was injured and perhaps even did that job as they worked their way up. They're the best ones to know if procedures were missed or skipped. For a liability or customer incident, the investigation should be done by the senior manager on duty at that time. For both, for a serious incident, the owner or a senior company officer should also be included. Take the time to train your staff on how to investigate and report an incident. You want to show empathy for the injured party, but you don't want to apologize or admit fault. And then as a business, periodically, all incidents should be reviewed by the ownership or executive leadership to look for any trends or patterns that may be occurring, such as excessive slips and falls at a specific time of day or a location. How to investigate. Let's talk more about how to investigate in some detail. First, control the scene. We do not want anyone else injured. Employees should immediately notify a supervisor, and we want to ensure prompt medical attention. Secure the area, again, so no one else enters it and possibly is injured, and then isolate any hazards. Is there a piece of equipment leaking water onto the floor that needs to be shut down? Get basic information, time, location, and conditions at that time. Is it raining, snowing, that type of information. Next, we want to gather evidence. What do you want to know? Examine equipment and materials involved. Was something leaking? Is something appear broken? Is something defective?
Photograph the area. More photos, not less. Take several photos, both close-ups and some from further distance. That gives the overall view of the area. Both are important to document the scene. Also, save any available surveillance video. As much as possible is ideal, but a general rule would be 30 minutes before the incident and 30 minutes after. Video that does not show anything is just as important at times as video that shows the actual incident. For incidents with non-employees, it can also be helpful to retain any video of the non-employee while they are at the property.
You also want to take possession of damaged or broken parts or equipment. Anything that possibly could result in a third-party recovery against a manufacturer should be placed under secure storage by business management. Next, you want to interview. Who do you want to talk to? Identify the people involved, the witnesses, the bystanders. You want to interview them as soon as possible. Ask them what they saw. For all incidents, try to record everyone's full name, phone number, and address. This is particularly important for liability incidents. Put people at ease. Let them know you're just looking for the facts. You're not trying to find fault. Verify the information. Interview people privately if at all possible. In analyzing the incident, one technique is called 5 whys. That's W-H-Y. Repeatedly ask why to help determine the root causes. If your business follows Six Sigma practices, the 5 whys is a technique in the analyze phase of Six Sigma methodology. Asking the question why over and over helps you drill down to the underlying causes. As an example, a person slips because there was water on the floor. The first why answer is the water came from the ice machine. The second why answer says the ice was spilled. The third why answer is a tote was used to carry the ice and the tote was overfilled. The fourth why answer says it was overfilled so the employee could make less trips to refill a produce bin or a beverage dispenser with ice. You want to keep asking why until all of the causes of loss are revealed, and then you can determine where corrective action can best be applied. In some incidents, you might get your answer in less than 3 whys, while more complex incidents will take more than 5. Identifying as many contributing causes as possible is the key. There is rarely one cause. There's almost always multiple causes and opportunities to prevent the incident from reoccurring. For more complex incidents, consider using a team approach for the investigation. Someone from another department can often see something that you might not, that you see every day because you're always in that department. There are a few tools that would be good to have readily available to investigate an incident, such as a camera or smartphone, tape measure, accident investigation form, and claim reporting numbers. Next is fact versus opinion. When asking questions, try to keep them open-ended. For example, ask, "What did you see?" rather than asking, "Did you see them speeding?" That implies you already believe someone may have been speeding. When taking notes, write down just what you were told so you can more easily determine between fact and opinion. The slide shows a few other examples of fact versus opinion statements. Opinion, employee was driving recklessly. Fact, the employee was exceeding the speed limit. Opinion, the equipment was a safety hazard. The fact, the machine guard had been removed. Taking corrective action. The end game or goal for an incident investigation is corrective action. Is there anything the employer, business, or property owner can do to prevent or reduce the odds of the incident occurring again? If the answer is yes, be specific, such as putting a better guard on a machine or increasing the number of walk-off mats at entrances. Maybe in the case of our ice bucket example, providing the employee with a larger bucket that won't be overfilled, or making sure they know making more than one trip to refill the bin is perfectly acceptable. With the corrective action identified, assign responsibility for implementing the corrective action and set a date by when it should be completed. Then devise a method to verify the corrective action was implemented, such as a reporting form or a calendar alert to remind yourself to check. The biggest problem with corrective action is not taking any if there was a way to prevent a reoccurrence. However, we do need to clarify a few points. With respect to an employee or workers' compensation injury, corrective action should always be implemented as soon as the solution presents itself.
With a third party or liability incident where a non-employee was injured, corrective action is usually a preferred course of action, but could be viewed by some as an admission of guilt or fault. However, not taking action to correct a hazard you now are aware of can also be seen as negligence. When it comes to liability incidents, maintain close communication with your society claims representative on the corrective action you want to take and when you should take it.
Accident or incident investigation sounds complicated, and sometimes it can be, but for the most part, it is just being prepared so that when something happens, you are ready to act, to find out what happened, why it happened, and what you can do about it. Remember to be prepared. You never know when an injury may occur. Remember to take control, not only of the investigation process, but also isolate the area so no one else can be injured. And remember to gather evidence, the broken tools or equipment, your surveillance video, and cell phone pictures. Also remember to identify and interview witnesses and provide their contact information to society claims representative. For an employee, interview them about what happened. Remember to analyze the details, what happened, how do you think it happened, and what can be done to prevent a reoccurrence. And then finally, remember to take action. If there's something you can do to prevent the injury from occurring again, do it. Before we wrap up, we'd like to share some details about reporting incidents to Society Insurance. Prompt reporting of an incident or claim is very important. Claim costs and duration are typically lower with prompt reporting. With workplace injuries, we often see employers may be reluctant to report a claim when they feel the injury is not legitimate. This is common when an injury isn't witnessed or when there was no visible proof of an injury, such as a cut, a burn, or a fracture. Unfortunately, not reporting questionable injuries can jeopardize the claim adjuster's ability to investigate and often sends the worker to an attorney, which will drive up the cost of any claim. At this time, we're going to ask another poll question. And that question is, can you be penalized for not reporting an injury or for reporting it late? Please answer true or false. We'll give you a couple minutes to. You guys are good. The answer is true. You can be penalized. The Workers' Compensation Division of the Department of Workforce Development says an employer who intentionally fails to report an injury may be assessed a penalty for bad faith, which can be the lesser of $30,000 or 200% of any compensation that would be due or owed. That's a lot of money. An employer may also be assessed a penalty for a delay in reporting an injury which causes an untimely payment for lost wage loss to the injured employee. This penalty is 10% of the amount owed and paid once the injury is reported. By law, an injured employee must be compensated for wage loss within 14 days of their last day worked. An example would be the injured worker is off work 3 weeks before the claim is reported to Society Insurance. The carrier makes a payment of $1,500 for wages lost. The employer may have to pay an additional $150 to that worker. To report a workers' compensation incident or claim during business hours, our hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Please call 888-576-2438. If you are calling after hours or on holidays or weekends, the 24-hour emergency claim number is available by choosing option 9. You may also fax your completed first report of injury form to area code 920-922-1071 or email it to wcclaims@societyinsurance.com. Agents may submit a first report of injury on your behalf using the Agent Services portal at www.societyinsurance.com for losses on direct business policies. First report of injury forms can be found at www.societyinsurance.com. Click on Claims, Workers' Compensation Claims, and then scroll down to Additional Resources.
Reporting a liability claim is very similar to reporting a workers' compensation claim. You're invited to report the incident first to your agent. Many agents want to know what's going on and be directly involved in helping you report the claims. However, you're always welcome to report incidents directly to Society Insurance as well. This can be done 3 ways: by phone, fax, or email, as shown on the screen. For serious incidents after business hours or on weekends, please contact Society directly at 888-576-2438 and choose option 8. This extension is staffed 24/7 by a member of Society's claims team.
Society Insurance offers additional safety management and claim reporting resources at the Society Insurance website, www.societyinsurance.com. Some of this information is exclusive for Society customers, but some is open to all. There are also other resources that you can access, such as on the OSHA Occupational Safety and Health Administration website. They have a publication called Incident Investigations, a Guide for Employers. That is a free download. And they've recently published a fact sheet on the importance of root cause analysis during incident investigation. While their fact sheet is geared to the OSHA Process Safety Management Standard, the process of root cause analysis is the same for any workplace injury. We also have a number of blogs on the Society website that deal with workplace safety, claim reporting, safety management, home safety, and business management. Lastly, don't hesitate to contact Society Risk Control or claim departments with questions. If you have met with a Society Risk Control representative in the past, please feel free to reach out to them, or any risk control question can be submitted to riskcontrol@societyinsurance.com. That email inbox is monitored daily, and a staff member will be assigned to get back to you with an answer to your question. For questions on workers' compensation, property, auto, or liability claims, please feel free to call the Society number we've already mentioned, 888-576-2438, and you'll be directed to the correct staff member in either workers' compensation or property, auto, liability claims. Contact information is also available, again, on our website. In summary, accidents are not a cost of doing business. Accidents don't just happen for no reason. Left unchecked, accidents will affect a business's bottom line. Good business management demands every incident be reviewed for what happened, why it happened, what can be done to prevent it happening again. Kathy, Stacy, and I hope we have convinced you that effective incident investigation will benefit your business. At this point, we're going to throw the webinar open to any questions. On your screen, you should see a chat option where you can type in a question. Failing that, we're also going to try to unmute everyone. Okay, looks like we've got the unmute feature working, so if anybody has a question, wants to throw it out there, please do. All right, since we're not getting any questions at this time, again, you can always submit your questions to the Risk Control email inbox or call our liability or work comp claim staff. So with that, we will conclude today's webinar. And thank you for joining us. Have a good day and have a great holiday season.